Pick it up from where we left off. Dr. Fucky, he calls him Dr. Fakey. Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honors, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching the truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakians out there in four quarters of the earth for claiming this truth. Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash, Brakatum.
Dr. Fakey, you know what I'm saying, returns, you know what I'm saying, to the spotlight to address anti-iris concerns, right? Lockdown. Look, a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able to get ready to lock it down. Say expensive gas is, over there in California, $7 and some change, almost $8 damn, man. Yeah, shit, you can't afford to live. They're gonna start quarantining ninjas too. You see, you got the people out there in that ship. Shit, who knows if anybody on them damn ships, man? All that Hollywood studio stage shit, just like the other shit.
Yeah, like Tom Hanks.
In 2020, they were saying the HPs. Y'all know what the HPs is right about now. The HOS. You see, Pitzel. You see, Pitzel. Right? They said it was packed with lines everywhere, but then me and the brother Kabal rolled through there one day. You know what I'm saying? Right before camp, and won't no damn body outside. They were showing all these damn images on TV of people that's dead, you know what I'm saying, just standing in line, you know what I'm saying, through his hair with face covering. Hey, we went up there, it won't no damn body, it won't no line, it won't no nothing, man.
Yep.
It won't no tents, it won't no nothing. That was some Hollywood studio production.
AI shit. Now they got AI.
These niggas fell for the nonsense, man. Never trust thy enemy. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. It's Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in the Lord.
Yeah, even I drove around Reading back then. And there weren't people lining up to go to the hospital.
It says, even him who's coming is after the working of Satan. They get the Esau Edom, starting off with the elite banking families, the Rothschilds, the Gettys, the Bloombergs, the Oppenheimers, the Sugar They get their marching orders, you know what I'm saying, from the spiritual demon Satan, man. All right? Who gets his marching orders from Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Sleazy Esau Edom, he gets his marching orders from the spiritual demon Satan. Guess who the spiritual demon Satan get his marching orders from? Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, who they call God of Jesus, right? It says even him who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying words. Yeah, is there pseudoscience, right? Look. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth,
that they might be spared.
People listening to this devil, they ain't thinking about the words of Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Look. And for this cause Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, shall send them strong delusion. A delusion is to believe in something that ain't real, right? The Lord got our people up on a strong delusion, man.
Yep.
That they are
from Harvard. Or from COVID to Harvard.
Devil, man. They're up on a strong delusion. So
yep.
I think there's something wrong with that. Everybody walking around with face covering and shit like that. Motherfuckers walking around with plastic suits and shit. You said, pull them pictures of 2020, 2021. Motherfuckers actually at the grocery store, with plastic damn suits on and shit, scared to touch some shit. Motherfuckers at the restaurant, with face covering on, eating with a little hole. And
I see somebody totally hazmat, look like a goddamn painter, show up at fucking Walgreens. I'm like, man, what a fucking retard. You know? People are fucking retarded. They believe everything they see on TV, even though you could just drive around, right? You know, because Reading Medical Hospital and all that, which I was going to the YMCA at the time, ain't no motherfuckers lining up. Oh, wait, they closed down the YMCA. They didn't reopen for a long time, but nonetheless, I drove by Reading Medical, you know, because I still have my prescriptions at Walgreens, and ain't no motherfuckers lining up there. But they did have, corona tests, right? Well, like everything else, though. I believe that they're just going to keep the fear of this going, while a lot of other shit's happening, while they're pushing the hantavirus scam, you know, the fake virus scam, you know, to just keep everybody all over the fucking place and not see what's going on.
The mouth part, you know what I'm saying, eating through that shit, fucking... that they all might be damned, condemned. The Israelites who believe not the truth, give you the truth according to the Bible, tell you to seek the Lord, turn back to the Lord. That they all might be damned, condemned, who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. And that's the majority of our people. The Lord got something for each and every last one of you niggas that don't take heed. He gonna let this devil have his way with you, man. Let's go here. Let's just go here. This Psalms 140. Read it all the time. I'm gonna color it. Bear with me. I'm gonna color it. Bear with me. Let's get this. Psalms 140. And when you think you don't need the Lord, you see, look at Dr. Fakey. Returns to the spotlight. He was gone for a long time. He got acquitted for all his damn crimes. I think Sleepy Joe, he was either Sleepy Joe, you know what I'm saying, or either Donald Duck, you know what I'm saying, acquitted this man of all his crimes, man. They gave him exemption. You see? I think that's it. Exemption. Is that word exemption? He got exempt of all the damn crimes. I'm thinking that I know one of the words is acquitted. You know, got off scot-free, so-called. But now with the Lord, because these devils gonna have to pay for all their crimes. You think we're gonna have to pay for the things that we did wrong, and this devil's gonna get off scot-free? You know it don't work like that. Psalm chapter 1.
Exactly.
Are y'all not seeing what this devil is talking about, man? On this article, man. It was 6 feet this, it was 6 feet that, it was 6 feet that, 6, man. You see?
Yep.
Psalms 140. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wicked. Oh yeah, the scripture says, though he pretend to have thee, yet he shall undermine thee, man. And if you start catching hell, you're going to see that devil there just looking at you, you know what I'm saying, squirm and squeal. You see? But that's what you get for trusting in your enemy, though, right? And you got Israelite groups telling you that these are not our enemies. You see, these damn vampires, man. These damn blood suckers, right? These nappers, offspring snatchers. You see what I'm saying? Offspring snatchers. You get that? Psalm chapter 140, verse 1 reads, deliver me, O Lord, deliver me, O Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, from the evil man. Look at him, man. Look. Deliver me from the evil man. This damn tiny top, man. The elites, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Bloombergs, the Oppenheimers, the Schicklgruvers, the DuPonts, the Bushes, the Clintons, all these things, man. Deliver us from the evil man. No. Another damn scam demon. You see this damn devil, man. Hold on. You see him, man. Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man. As he calls us from what we read, as a roaring lion and as a raging bear, so is the wicked ruler over the poor people. Didn't we read that? I know we read it. This is what you imagine mischiefs in their heart, mischievous madness. That's the only thing in their mind. That's the only thing they think about. Continually are they gathered together for what? Because the scripture says his words are smooth and butter, you know what I'm saying? But in his heart, he's drawing swords, man.
Yep. And they're getting ready to go back to war while everybody's distracted with this, right? They're going to war. Well, here we go. And not to mention, you know, you got a whole bunch of shit going on at the time. I mean, this ain't even one subject, full spectrum. Got quite a few here, right? California quake swarm, vials found, price spike, you're being set up, the war is on. See, like everything else, distractions, but yet, whole bunch of shit, you can't even get of it one title. You know, if you've learned anything about our titles, man, we go into everything that's going on, as well as the scriptures. Everything that's in it, because most people have a Bible, but they don't have the interpretation. They don't got the right people teaching. But now you do, because the prophets, the great millstone on down, are teaching the 100% truth. So here we go, man. You know, lots of shit happening at the same time. With distractions, and yet, another California quake swarm. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. Well, you got too many distractions.
Good morning,
so here
everybody.
we are.
You're watching Full Spectrum Survival as we look at an extremely active earthquake swarm. This is happening around the California region. This has been underway for a couple of days. We have seen an M4 plus earthquake already hit, including an M4.7 and a magnitude 4.5. They say that this is very far from over, and there's some suggestion that either we have a fault awakening or something is going on at one of our secretive nuclear programs in the region. Right now, the world is burning through our oil reserves. They're doing this at inventories at the fastest pace on record. Several U.S. and Israeli notations have been put forward to the U.S. government saying that these stockpiles have fallen by 5 million barrels per day, exceeding even what happened during the pandemic. Now, once the inventories truly run dry, we're going to switch from an oil deficit into an oil shortage. And then you're going to see the prices spike again. Right now, folks, you're being set up for one of the largest bait-and-switch events in U.S. history. An analysis of public flight tracking data shows that the U.S. military is using our intelligence-gathering flights surging once again off Cuba's coast. We've had 25 such flights in the last couple of 30-day periods, mostly the Poseidons. We have seen some of the RC-135s and the MQ-4Cs. This is happening near Havana.
So there you
The thing that
go,
I'm here to tell
invading
you
Cuba.
is that this pattern almost exactly mirrors the running up to the U.S. military action that took place in Venezuela, the U.S. military action that began in the country of Iran.
Wars and rumors of
and
wars.
We're starting to see that there are masking events that are taking place, and analysts warn that Washington may be deliberately signaling its presence to Cuba, saying if you don't sign everything over, we're coming in strong. Folks, I want to get to some of the video that we have to cover today. Here we have Netanyahu of Israel
We'll get into
The
this.
expansion and the deepening of the agreements we do have to alliances with Arab states of the kind that we never even dreamed of.
There is concern rising among
Yeah,
the Gulf
this
monarchies.
motherfucker's dying. He's going to take a lot of people out before he dies.
Exercise.
Look at the amount of caution that this news presenter brings to this meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister. The amount of caution that is being exercised here is truly a global phenomenon and something that we keep a close eye on.
Strategic dominance.
In fact, from Arab countries, which I won't get into.
All of them?
No. But some of them, and I never heard that before, let's strengthen our alliance with Israel, because that, in fact, deters Iran. Let's strengthen our alliance with Israel because we can do amazing things with Israel.
That was clearly the trajectory before this conflict.
It's more.
Poor dude looks like he's about to see the Reaper before his face.
Major, I want you to know that in Iran, they named streets after me. You know that? Well, after President Trump too, obviously, because he's leading the fight. But they had this, I don't speak Farsi, but they call me Bibi, beloved Bibi, Bibi.
I don't know about all that, folks. What's your BS meter say on them naming streets inside of a hardline, extremist, religiously indoctrinated country for Trump and the leader of Israel? Kind of throws my BS meter way up to the top. This video shows reportedly Iran bringing down with anti-aircraft defense systems a reconnaissance drone that they say was launched by the United States of America. This is scary, okay? This is reportedly a video off of the coast. This is off of the coastline in Suffolk, England. What you're looking at right here is a chewed up, empty vial of a virus medium. So in high-level and
Here
secure
comes the big
laboratories, what they'll do
scare.
with these viruses is they'll transport them in these medium containers. Why do we have this just washing up on the ocean right now? So this virus transport medium, reference EM1673. I think I can read 040968847 there on the bottom. If anybody down in the comments wants to do a little bit of research there and kind of see what maybe was transported in this, it would be very interesting if this was part of a larger plan. Listen to Marco Rubio.
Unfortunately, because Iran is violating every law known by striking commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, and it's a big problem for the world. I mean, this is a regime that doesn't believe in laws, rules, or anything like that. It's a state-sponsored terrorism, so it's not surprising that they're down.
You're the only state-sponsored terrorist.
And that's the official standpoint right now, that the nation of Iran is conducting terrorist activities against commercial vessels. We do have a little bit of video here that is showing some of the vessels that have been damaged by this, reportedly attacked by the Iranians. Now, this vessel in particular is absolutely demolished. I mean, it is absolutely demolished. Hopefully, we'll be able to get to that in this broadcast, if not, maybe in this afternoon's broadcast. Let's listen to see what else Rubio has to say. These are witness reports inside of a train station in Tokyo. They say an incident occurred where multiple people were hospitalized after some sort of release of an unknown substance took place.
Oh, no!
Immediately, there was some people saying that it was just like
another
a pepper spray,
fake
then there were some
virus.
people saying that this was some sort of chemical agent. We're just going to have to see who's lying to us and who is.
Rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat.
Here we have another coincidental fire taking place.
From
This
rat
one is
virus
in
to bat virus,
Taiwan.
right?
Now,
Or bat
later on in
virus
this
to rat
broadcast this
virus.
afternoon, we're going
Rat
to
shit,
get to
bat
another
shit,
fire
dirty
that's
old
happening
twat.
in China. We have others happening in Malaysia. We have them happening across Europe. They're happening in the United States of America. They're happening in Mexico. When we have multiple nations suffering warehouse and industrial fires at the same time, we know that something bigger is happening. Something that they are not willing to tell us about.
Yep, they're blowing up the industries deliberately because of the shortage.
Natural gas. The United States is in a tremendous position. We're by far the world's largest producer of oil. We're by far the world's largest producer of natural gas. There's been no rise in the price of natural gas. That's the largest primary energy source for the United States. That's for home heating. That's for electricity. Gasoline and diesel prices are up, and they will remain up while this conflict's in place. And then they will.
I'm kind of scared at what I'm looking at here. Look at the eyes of the presenter over on the right-hand side of the screen, and then the near robotic face of the of Secretary Wright over here. So you got the eyes of the presenter over here on the right. I mean, this is some. I don't even know what's happening. Let me just tell you what Secretary Wright is saying. The United States of America is the world's largest producer of oil, but we're not necessarily the world's largest refiner. And it's going to take 3 years to build to that point. So there's an expectation that here in the great US of A, gas prices could reach $6
You mean Babylon
to
the
$10,
Great?
depending on what you use.
Which is going to be
There's also an
diminished.
expectation that the cost of living will increase this year. That retailers will begin funneling through the cost of fuel to you, the consumer. There's an expectation that there will be riots and protests across the USA, and that is one expectation that I say I have to agree
You mean
with, because what we're
uprisings?
looking at right now is an affront against people everywhere. Okay, this is that fire breaking out at another marketplace. This is over in Malaysia.
Yep, chaos rampant.
It doesn't take too much stretch of the imagination to know that the world is under attack. Whether it's in the economy, against the people, the transfer of wealth between the have-nots and the haves, the food that you eat, the information that you are presented with. It is in these trying times that I am honored and blessed to be able to doom scroll so that you don't have to. You can go about your life making sure that you understand what's going on in the world around you. Thank you guys for being subscribers here.
So there you have it. A lot of things all happening at the same time. Simultaneously, right? And so here we are, man. You know, more of the hantavirus scamdemic. British Army parachutes hantavirus response team to remote island. I mean, I bet you all the news channels were flooded with this. British Army airdropped a team of medics accompanied by paratroopers to treat suspected hantavirus case on the remote island of Tristan. The patient was among the who left the Dutch flash video. The outbreak was converted. Cruise airline, some media family carried 175. Typically spread, you know, oh, okay, it's worldwide now, blah, blah, blah. Oh, boy. But they gotta dramatize us. Let's get some drama shit. Don't be afraid of a nuclear war. Just be scared of a fake virus. Fucking retards. Just go duck and cover. Oh wait, they're not teaching you duck and cover, are they? Oh, they gotta make you believe. You have to believe they are magic. Oh, here we go. Preparing for the next pandemic. Hantavirus next? Okay, Redacted News is also going into this. So, again, rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat. Here we go again, another scamdemic.
Well, the media is hysterical that people exposed to the hantavirus from a cruise ship have disembarked and are just rolling
Move, bitch, you got hantavirus.
To all four corners of the earth.
Bitch,
ready
you got
to infect
hantavirus.
you. Should you panic? Well, let's back up, because the story goes
those
that
blue
people
motherfuckers
have tested
again.
positive for the virus, and they were sent off the ship, and now we're getting positive test cases.
I'm blue, la la nee, la 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 nee, la la.
But what do we actually know about hantavirus testing? Does it have the same reliability problems that the COVID-19 PCR tests have? We are told that the Andes hantavirus test has a very high mortality rate, but do we know that it's that strain? How do they test that? And is the morbidity rate the same as people with comorbidities as it is for people without? Now, thankfully, we've learned to ask these questions because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have a few other things to note. First off, hantavirus is not known to spread between humans. If it is doing that now, this could indicate that it's been manipulated. Also, hantavirus is an RNA virus, which could mean that ivermectin is a possible therapeutic, according to some doctors. We're going to talk about that in a second. Will the government prevent us from knowing that, like it did before about other viruses?
Or just keep the fear alive.
2024, Moderna announced
Maybe they
that
control you
were
by
working on a
fear.
vaccine. And also, eagle-eyed observers have pointed out that the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine had listed amongst its adverse events hantavirus. This, what you see here, is a list of possible adverse events around the next one. Can we move that one? Yes, here. A list of possible adverse effects of the COVID-19 vaccine.
There it comes.
This is dated 2021. It's not saying they observed it. It's saying they were looking for it.
You got fucked in the ass.
For hantavirus as
like
a
Dr.
possible
Fucky.
adverse event for the COVID-19 vaccine.
You stupid motherfuckers who took the vaccine.
Outbreak on the cruise ship is very strange. I linked you today to this video in the newsletter. If you haven't seen it, she's saying
right shit, bad shit, dirty old
content
twat
around this cruise outbreak are influencers. or people who work for the cruise line. It's very strange and inconsistent. And two other oddities we should consider. First of all, this has gone viral. In 2022, someone posted that COVID would end in 2023 and that hantavirus would pop up in 2026. Is that a coincidence? We don't know. And also, as Clayton mentioned earlier, it was also mentioned in an episode of The X-Files in the 90s, discussed as a way to expand government control. Watch this short clip.
You right? You know my work? I was right about Dallas. How were you right? Are you familiar with the hantavirus, Agent Mulder?
There it is.
Yeah, it was a deadly virus spread by field mice in the southwestern United States several years ago.
According to the newspaper, FEMA was called out to manage an outbreak of the hantavirus. Are you familiar with what the Federal Emergency Management Agency's real power is? FEMA allows the White House to suspend constitutional government upon declaration of a national emergency. Think about that. What is an agency with such broad sweeping power doing managing a small viral outbreak in suburban Texas?
A national emergency. Okay, well, Dr. Pierre Corey is the author of The War on Chlorine Dioxide, the medicine that could end medicine. He was a critic of the government's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, which was why he was one of the first people I asked to talk to. Dr. Corey, thank you for joining us today.
Great to be back. Good to see you.
All right, good to see you. So let's just run down these questions systematically before we decide to panic like the New York Post is telling us to. First of all, can we trust these positive cases? What do you know about hantavirus testing and specifically the strain testing?
You know, it's hard because that's a pretty rare infection, especially in the United States. Most of the time, I mean, now we have PCR, which is ubiquitous, and you can use that, but it's typically, historically, like even the CDC, they use antibodies. So you have to wait until they form antibodies to be, I think that's the much more, I would say, specific or accurate test. But PCR, really, you can only test after symptoms. So again, you know, we've gone through the testing with COVID, you know, the sensitivities and specificities of PCR. Ultimately, any diagnosis it really has to be in the proper clinical context. So you really need to have the syndrome which fits hantavirus, right? And hantavirus, the two things that make it relatively unique, at least early on, it's a severe viral infection. Like think of like the worst flu you've had, but it's really known for severe myalgias, like really bad muscle aches. And so if muscle aches are severe and predominating, you got to really put hantavirus much higher on your differential diagnosis. But it has to be within a clinical context. Otherwise, no test really matters. So if those patients are really sick in terms of a classic syndrome of a hemorrhagic virus, could be real. Could be real. I don't know enough about those cases. I just know that there were some deaths, which also suggests it. Because hantaviruses have like between 25 and 50% mortality rate. So if 3 people already died on that cruise, I wonder how many people on the cruise are sick.
Well, we all like to think COVID is behind us, but what if the effects are still lingering in the body, especially in the brain? A new study from NYU Langone Health found something.
So there we go. Yeah, because we all had a lesson to learn from the COVID, right? You know, coronavirus hoax. So, you know, just move it to the next hoax. You know, because that's what they do to. But there's a rumor of war that, you know, because of this interruption of the Victory Day in Moscow, you know, that Putin may be possibly looking to overthrow because it's either Colonel McGregor or Scott Ritter. I think it's Scott Ritter that said that, you know, and I'll play that video in a second here, but he said that Putin may be looking to go in and to end this war with Kiev completely and take out Vladimir Zelensky. So there is that rumor going around. Kremlin explains impasse in Ukraine peace talks. Ukraine military needs to pull back from Donbass for the peace process to move forward. Russian President aide had said talks between Moscow and Kiev will remain stalled until then. So Russia and Ukraine had several rounds of talks, including the U.S. mediation, since early 2025. You know, so like everything else, though, they know the war in Ukraine, that it must be done, and they must do it sooner or later, President said. So, you know, but Victory Day was actually interrupted, okay, because we all know Russia won World War II. Not the other way around, but, the king of Babylon likes to claim that America won that war. They didn't win shit. Yeah, they dropped bombs on Japan, but it was Russia that actually won the war over in Europe. And so this rumor was on the Jimmy Dore show, which he mixes comedy in with actual news events, kind of like George Carlin did, but in his own way of it, He blows the whistle on a lot of things, but he does it in the form of comedy. Well, he had Scott Ritter on, and this is Scott Ritter's prediction, which, as you know, he was in the military, etc. So this is what he's saying.
I think we're about to see a very dramatic departure from the norm, with Russia now applying the totality of its strategic capabilities to Ukraine. This summer, they are going to destroy Ukraine, destroy the Ukrainian leadership. If I were Zelensky, I would leave Ukraine and never go back, because I think he is literally dead man walking.
So there you go, dead
Any
man
update
walking.
on what's happening inside of the Ukraine-Russia conflict?
Well, I'll tell you what, last night, I'm here in Washington, D.C., that's why you see this different background, the hotel. But last night I attended the Victory Day celebration. I've attended 4 in a row now, 4 years in a row. And Victory Day is a huge day for the Russians. It's the day they defeated Nazi Germany, the day Berlin fell. They got the unconditional surrender. Last night was the most militant Victory Day I've ever attended. The mood was grim. The speech by the ambassador was aggressive, talking about unconditional surrender for the Ukrainians, talking about the inevitability of armed conflict with Germany, which he reclassified as the reemergence of Nazi ideology. And the mood just seems to be the Russians are not going to be continuing the special military operation, hands tied behind their back approach. I think the Russians have made the decision now that it's time to bring this war to an end, and they're going to move into a different gear. And you see Medvedev's posting, very aggressive, very aggressive. Sergei Lavrov's words, very aggressive. I think we're about to see a very dramatic departure from the norm, with Russia now applying the totality of its strategic capabilities to Ukraine. This means that Ukrainian cities will be struck and destroyed. Kiev will not look like it looks today. If the Ukrainians are foolish enough to launch drones against Moscow tomorrow, I think you're going to see the greatest destruction of urban territory in Europe since the Second World War. It will be devastating. It will be tragic. But I can't say it's unavoidable given what the Ukrainians are doing and what the Europeans are doing.
I mean, I know that Russia called for a ceasefire so they could have the celebration, and apparently Ukraine abided by it, didn't strike Moscow. So they must, because Moscow threatened to go ahead and I wouldn't say obliterate, but do heavy damage to Kiev if they did attack at that time. So it seems like they must understand that Russia has the ability to go in and wipe out, do serious damage to Kiev whenever they feel like it. And you're saying that's coming? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the parade is tomorrow. The embassy held their celebration last night, but the parade is tomorrow. Ukraine, the Russians offered a ceasefire starting today through tomorrow. Ukraine has committed over 400 violations of that ceasefire so far, to include drone strikes against Russian cities inside Russia. So there's no indication that they're going to abide by the ceasefire tomorrow. But the other thing is, even if they don't launch on Moscow, I think Russia has made the decision that the Ukrainian leadership must be terminated because of these long-range drone strikes that are striking Russian oil production facilities. These are being facilitated by NATO, by European nations that are building the drones, intelligence that guides the drones. And they're starting. When I was in Russia in November, I interviewed a man who is in the government who is involved in the security of Russia's energy infrastructure from drones. And at that time, he indicated that it was more of a nuisance, that the drone strikes looked bad on the imagery, but the reality is very little was destroyed, and the repairs were rapidly being made and bringing things back into play. Apparently, that's not the case now. Apparently, some real harm is being done, some real damage is being done. So this has made this an existential issue for Russia, which means that they have no choice but to change the calculation. They can't ride this out. They can't, say, well, we'll just be patient here. So even if Russia doesn't take Kiev off the map Saturday, I think the future of Kiev is grim. I think that the Russians will strike Kiev decisively, and other Ukrainian cities too. I think this summer they are going to destroy Ukraine, destroy the Ukrainian leadership. If I were Zelensky, I would leave Ukraine and never go back, because I think he is literally dead man walking.
So there you have it, rumor of war. And that could very well play out, because yes, as you know, it's all about the oil, and right now with oil shortages and all that, they are cutting into Russia's business. So indeed, they have to do something about it. So here we go. Trump recently made a statue of himself. Hail Satan. The king of Babylon, bow down to your king. So all Christians, Zionists, and Muslims shocked by the public worship of the new giant golden statue of President Trump, that was just eradicated outside Mar-a-Lago. So here we go, so here he is, and you see people bowing down to Donald Trump. Let's see if this show's actually up. No. But either way, though, he breaks it down on there. On Sunday show, Alex Jones covered how a golden statue of Donald Trump had been erected outside Mar-a-Lago with adherents of the MAGA religion to pray to. And if you're going to use the word handicap, those MAGA hat wearers, there's your handicap. Fucking retards. Energy crisis reaches India as Modi urges public to cut fuel use. So, while he makes a statue of himself, you got this going on with the fuel shortages. Because, make no mistake about it, this is what it's about. It's destroying energy infrastructure. And, while the fake virus and everything else is going on, yeah, you got so many distractions. But they're moving in. They're going all in. India's Prime Minister on Sunday urged the public to reduce petrol and diesel consumption amid supply disruptions caused by the war in West Asia. Here we go. Modi also called for return of energy-saving measures followed during the coronavirus hoax, including working from home, online conferences, and virtual meetings. And then you got this hantavirus scare all going on. All seems like the same concept. Puri urged citizens to turn Modi's appeal into a mass movement to save and conserve energy. So, there you go. You got to cut your energy costs and all that. But here's the guy running the show, right? King Bibi was just on 60 Minutes, and as Trump says it, as Alex Jones said it, he just bitch slapped Trump. The embattled Israeli Prime Minister, now in control of the U.S. foreign policy in West Asia, says the war ends when he says it's over. So it's over when he says it's over. Israeli state should end reliance on U.S. cash, and this is coming from King Bibi as well. So they looking to de-dollarize themselves. Israeli leader King Bibi claimed that he plans to wean his country off U.S. financial aid within the next decade while blaming social media manipulation for declining support for his country among Americans. Under the 10-year agreement signed in 2016, U.S. committed $38 billion in military aid to the Israeli state through 2028, including $5 billion for the Iron Dome worthless system. Overall, America's system accounts for roughly 60% of the country's military budget. In the 60 Minutes interview aired on Sunday, King Bibi asked whether it was time for the Zionist state to re-examine and possibly reset its financial relationship with D.C. Absolutely, I said to President Trump, I've said it to our own people, their jaws dropped, he replied. I want to draw down to zero American financial support, the financial component of the military cooperation that we have. Prime Minister said, well, any other country talking like this gets attacked. Oh, not King Bibi. Not the Israeli state. The U.S. will never turn against the Israeli state. Well, they'll definitely turn against you. If you're Gaddafi, or if you're Saddam Hussein, you're saying, well, I don't want to deal in the U.S. dollar anymore. They take you out. Israeli state pushes U.S. towards return to Iran war, destruction of energy infrastructure. So King Bibi says the war ain't over till he says it's over. Israeli terrorists are urging D.C. to target Iran's energy infrastructure and resume military operations against Tehran. So, like everything else, expect that to come back if it hasn't enough already. Israeli states pushing the U.S. towards a renewed war with Iran. The war was never over because King Bibi didn't say it was over with. According to the report, Israelis believe Iran's energy infrastructure should be destroyed within 24 hours, forcing Tehran into negotiations from a position of severe weakness. So, what, just hit them hard with nukes? Is that what you're saying? Burn everything with nukes? With bunker-busting bombs, etc.? Iran says its proposal was generous as U.S. insists on unreasonable demands, which basically they're asking to be paid reparations for the damage caused and to end the war completely and withdraw from their bases from the region. Well, the U.S. says that's unreasonable. Foreign Ministry spokesman says Iran's proposal for ending the recent war was reasonable as the U.S. continues to insist on unreasonable demands shaped by the Israeli regime. We did not demand any concessions. The only thing we have demanded in Iran's legitimate rights, he said. It is unreasonable for Iran to demand an end to the war in the region, a halt to maritime piracy against Iranian ships, and the release of assets belonging to the Iranian people that have been unjustly blocked for years, he said. In our proposal for safe passage through the strait, so-called unreasonable, is establishing peace and security across the region irresponsible. Everything we proposed in the plan was reasonable and generous, and it is for the good of the region and the world, he further said. He expressed regret that the American side, based on mindset shaped by the Israeli state, continues to insist on unreasonable demands. So that's what was spoken, even though over here they're going to say something different. So here we go. Here's Donald Trump angry again. Oh boy, this guy just doesn't know how to hold his peace, right? You know, just a babbling fool. King of Babylon. A babbler, right? Babble on. Iran's response to U.S. peace terms? Totally unacceptable. It's unacceptable. How dare you not accept our demands? The details of Iran's response have not been made public, but according to the U.S. media reports, Iran's counterproposal focused on ending the war and securing guarantees that hostilities would not resume, while offering none of the nuclear concessions sought by D.C. You know, so like everything else, so Trump wrote on social media, I have just read the response from the Iran representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. So, you know, because like everything else, though, you know, just surrender, give everything to us, and we may or may not attack you, depending on how good we feel, because it's fun to blow up schools and do whatever the fuck we want. So just give in to what we say, and we may or may not attack you. Yeah, like they can trust this devil. Never trust thine enemy. Trump's deadly trap by rejecting Iran's proposal, U.S. enters strategic nightmare with no escape. And that's true, because there's no way out. A theatrical move that fooled no one, U.S. President Trump rejected Iran's comprehensive plan to end the war he illegally imposed against the country 70 days ago. U.S. President postured as a victor, dismissing Tehran's proposal with the bluster of a leader who expects capitulation. But the reality on the ground tells us darkly different story. Trump's rejection of Iran's plan, which was submitted early on Sunday, though through Pakistani mediators, is a grave strategic error as Americans hold no winning cards. So, pretty much so. Expect to go back to war, but you got the hantavirus hoax as well. Iran warns of heavy attacks against U.S. assets in the region if U.S. targets more Iranian oil tankers. So, even if they don't officially call it a war and they keep on harassing and shooting at their tankers, Iran's going to respond. The IRGC warned that it's ready to launch heavy attacks against U.S. assets in the region if more Iranian oil tankers are targeted by the U.S. military. Any attacks against Iranian tankers and commercial vessels will result in heavy attack on one of the American centers in the region and enemy ships, IRG said on Saturday after the U.S. military attacked 2 Iranian tankers. So the piracy continues and the war goes on and on and on. Well, like everything else, though, the abrupt ending, it's going to come so quickly that, man, you won't even know that it happened because it's going to come so fast. Because an hour ain't really a long period of time. It's going to come suddenly when no one even expects it, right? So, like everything else, though, the Most High, Yahweh, is going to send Yahushai to gather the elect from the 4 corners of the earth, along with the angels of the heavens, you know, which also referred to out of the skies, them chariots that Esau likes to call UFOs, recently, been released that, there are in fact UFOs, alien life forms, which are really the angels of the Most High, and they're going to gather the elect from the 4 corners of the earth and destroy this place, but also to, again, the day our Redeemer comes, right? The day of Yahweh Shai, the day of the Lord. You know, it's coming. And it's going to happen in 1 hour. You know, as it tells you right here in verses 12 and 13. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, and this will be said in the Hebrew, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, which is also referring to the skies, the heavens, the elements, and their enemies beheld them. In other words, everybody's going to see that. You're going to see this, you know, as you would say, bright light coming and taking, you know, the Israelites before them. In the same hour, there was a great earthquake by way of the nuclear destruction that came. And the 10th part of the city fell. That is, you know, that great city, Babylon the Great. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, which is the completeness, which obviously is more than 7,000, so it's not literally talking about only 7,000 people. But it's talking about how this whole place is totally destroyed, wiped out, becoming the lake of fire. And the remnant were affrighted, because at that same time, the destruction came, and gave glory to the power of heaven, because we're going to see from a glass window, you know, from the chariots, the great destruction, and we're going to give glory to the power of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third world war cometh quickly, because that's what third woe means. So this is talking about the final blow, the final hour, when Babylon the Great is consumed by nuclear fire, and by the angels of the heaven. The chariots are going to rain havoc on them. And we're going to fear the Most High, seeing what He can do. Everybody's going to fear the Most High for what He can do. So, hopefully this has all been edifying. For that I want to say, Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Wa Abal Babal. Brakatam, Jehovah Olak, Shalom.